Welcome to Zero to Hosted. My name is Royce and let's go. If you can't tell, I'm excited. We finally had my first mini PC. If you missed the episode in which I talked about some of the choices of hardware and where I was landing with that, I'll make sure to link it here so that you can go back and check it. But I'm very excited to have my first mini PC. I found this mini PC on Facebook Marketplace and paid about $60 for it. I wouldn't say it was a steal, but I had spent so much time on Facebook Marketplace looking at things and not buying it, looking at things and not buying and seeing them come and go, that I decided I was just going to pull the trigger when another one popped up really close to me. I wanted to just go ahead and get it. So $60 seemed fair. Actually, the guy had it listed for $65, but I didn't have like change for a 10, and neither did he, so he just took the 60, and he let me know he had another one that he was trying to decommit. That was a good place to source them in my local area. I am kind of close to a large metropolitan city, although I live in the suburbs, and I got this from a guy who also lives in the suburbs, so maybe there are some things locally around you. You can get away from paying for shipping fees and things of that nature. I like Facebook Marketplace when it's actually something local. I don't want to have to drive far to get a $10 discount on something. It just doesn't really make sense to me. So this person being pretty close to me, being able to give me a deal, really was the best of both worlds for me. Now, to get into what we've all been wanting to know, a little bit more about the mini PC itself. So the mini PC that I got is a Dell Optiplex 3020 with the i5 core by Intel. All right, you know the deal. I'm going to break down what that means and talk through some of those things, some of the pros and cons, so that we kind of understand. Like I said, I kind of pulled the trigger fast on this. I didn't really do a lot of research on this beforehand. I figured at this point in my journey, anything would be better than nothing. So I went with the anything route, and this is what I got. And I'm not displeased with it, but there are some hurdles that I'm going to have to overcome. The Dell Optiplex 3020 is actually a rather old computer. From the research I saw, the first one came out in 2013, and at time recording, it is 2026, so that's about a 13-year gap. Obviously, everything has changed about computers in those 13 years. Well, maybe not everything, but a lot has changed. And as you can imagine, that means that the standard stuff inside of this computer is not going to necessarily be up to speed, but as I mentioned before in one of my past videos, one of the great things about these mini PCs is that you're able to upgrade them, and that's something that I'm going to be definitely looking to do. I didn't see a lot of information about the i5 processor that's in there, but I did see that they were at least on like 10 now, so I'm not really expecting to be doing anything fantastic with it, and hopefully down the line I'll be able to either combine it with other mini PCs that'll make the performance better, or just completely change out that part and put in a newer processor if it can fit with the system. The last thing I want to talk about with the specs kind of goes back to what I said about why I think it's going to be great to have two of these mini PCs together, is because the RAM that is in the PC right now, I'm pretty sure it's only 4 gigabytes, which is rather small. It can be expanded up to 16. My plan is only to expand it to 12 at this moment, because if there's one 4 gigabyte card in there and another 8 gigabyte card, and I get another 8 gigabyte card, then that'll make it 12. And then if I can get two 12 gigabytes, that will put me at 24 gigabytes. And I think for most of the things that I'm going to be doing, like the introductory steps on, 24 gigabytes would be fine with that, and I'm hopeful that I can start some things with just doing 12 gigabytes. Although I've just gotten this piece of hardware, as you can hear, I'm already planning on what I need next, and it is kind of a list of things. One, it'll be that RAM, even if it's not to maximize it and it's just an 8 gigabyte card, then I'll get that. A few other things that I'll need to get are a switch, and specifically an unmanaged switch. And a switch, from what I understand, is kind of like a way to have your internet hardwired to more than one place. Where my internet comes into my house, it kind of goes from coaxial cable into the modem that is provided by my internet provider. And from there, it connects into some other things. And one of the things it connects to is an access point. and some access points that I have around my home that may or may not be working, honestly, but something that I'm trying to use to make the Wi-Fi in my house a little bit better. But what I want to do is be able to hardwire this mini PC into that as well. So my thought is that having a switch that goes from that modem to the switch and then hooking all my other things up to the switch instead would be easier, and I can make sure that everything is working well and hardwired well. One thing I didn't mention about the mini PC when we were talking about it earlier too was that it actually doesn't have Wi-Fi. The person gave me like a Wi-Fi adapter that he just included in there. I actually don't know how that works. I've never had a computer that doesn't have, well, I have had computers that didn't have Wi-Fi, but they were bricks that you just didn't move anywhere. They weren't these small things now. So I have to figure out if that'll be necessary. I'm expecting that if I hardwire into my internet, that I can do something called a secure shell, which I'll talk about later because I've been doing some research on what that looks like. But use that in order to access the mini PC without actually having to have a monitor on it or being there. So more to come on that for sure, but that's my general plan about what I'm trying to do. The other piece of hardware that I am working on getting is what's called a NAS, and a NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. So this would be a much larger purchase from what I've seen. There are not too many cheap ones around. And when you get one, you then have to buy the storage for it. And essentially, it's like a really souped up memory stick. So many of us may remember you can get a memory stick and like put it into the side of your computer, or if you were playing video games in like the early 2000s or around that time, they had these other memory sticks you could add into your console and things like that to make it better. It's essentially the same thing. You add it to your server or your mini PC, and then your files that you're saving can be saved there instead of on the mini PC, and it kind of becomes like this dual thing that works together and in tandem, so that when you're looking for something, it's pulled from this other system into the mini PC. Getting a NAS is kind of high up there on my list, but it, like I said, is going to be a larger purchase, so probably not the first thing I'm going to do, and is more related to me using and starting up my media server, which I'm not quite ready to do yet. What I actually plan to do for my first kind of like test of this is use a platform called Image, which is a self-hosted photo like library, and all of that great stuff to kind of get off of iCloud, which is where all my other photos are. So that'll be the first thing that I do with this server. I'm gonna be testing it out. Hopefully I can find some good resources to walk through. We can walk through together, and hopefully there's nothing that I need to do too difficult in Linux that will make it more difficult for me to use this and access Image. Those are my plans right now for this server. If you're interested in learning more about what Image is and how you might be able to self-host it as well, definitely subscribe to the channel so that when those videos come out, you can be notified about them. I appreciate everybody watching along. I'll see you in the next one.